Hello and welcome to the 12th episode of the Ask a Counselor series. I'm Christine McMinn.
I'm Missy Petty.
I'm Kelley Navar.
And so for today's episode, we wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about a very, very common issue that so many of our clients talk about. We thought it was especially relevant with daylight savings time ending here pretty soon. And that is the topic of sleep and how to get some good sleep, healthy habits for that. A lot of times it's referenced as kind of good sleep hygiene. So if that's not a phrase that you're familiar with, we're hoping to kind of share a little bit more about that with you, just some tips and strategies to really set yourself up to hopefully have a good, restful night's sleep ahead. So I think to get us started, Missy, you were going to share a couple of tips.
Yeah, and I think where we want to start for today and where I encourage you to start as you're thinking about building a good sleep hygiene practice is, what is your sleep schedule? So deciding on a set time that you go to bed and a set time that you wake up every day and staying on that schedule as much as you're able. I think also important is making sure that your bedtime, your set bedtime and your set wake up time allow for at least 7 hours of sleep. Once you've committed, and you have to commit to waking up and going to bed at the same time every day, you can kind of fill in the rest of your day, making choices that will set you up for good sleep. So knowing when to stop drinking caffeine, knowing when to eat your heavier meal, because we know you don't want to have a big meal before bedtime. If you have to rest or take a nap during the day, to do that early enough in the day that it doesn't disrupt your ability to go to sleep later in the day. So when you have that schedule set, it allows you to kind of fill in the rest of your day in a way that allows you to go to sleep successfully, hopefully. Something else to think about as you're moving through your day, knowing when you're planning to go to bed, is thinking about how light plays in over the course of your day. The amount of light is in your life is supposed to help your body know when it's time to go to sleep. So during the daytime, and I know here as we fall back an hour, we're going to lose some sun with it, but as much as you're able to open your shutters, your blinds, whatever, to let in as much natural light as you can. If you work in an area or live in an area where that's not as much of an option, you may think about getting one of those sun lamps to get as much light during the day as you can. And then as the day starts to wind down and your night starts to wind down, as best you're able, dimming the lights in the rooms that you're in to kind of signal to your body that now is a time to start quieting down, to start getting ready to rest. A piece of light you might forget about is your smartphone, which generates a lot of light, as does your tablet or your laptop. So also coming up with a hard stop for when you use those devices and thinking about when you wind down the light on those as well.
So another thing to be really mindful about is what your bedroom is like for you, and really dedicating that space to sleep and rest. And so that's looking at, again, what Missy was touching on is your lighting in there. Are you somebody that requires a very dark room? Are you somebody that requires a little bit of light? Really being mindful of those things. Also trying to minimize the amount of distractions that can happen. So I know that a lot of people have televisions in their room or keep their phone plugged in their room, making sure that maybe your phone's not in a place where it's easy to reach and access. And, some people will swear that turning on the television before going to sleep gets them to sleep. If it does, wonderful. If you are watching this video because you're having trouble sleeping and you have a TV in your room and you're turning it on, it might not be helpful to have that TV plugged in. Maybe you don't need to get rid of it completely for now, but maybe unplug it so that it doesn't have an option. So again, just creating that space. Do you need comfort around you? Can you surround yourself with some pillows? Do you need, some people are really into scent or really scent aversive. So really making sure, do I need a diffuser to help with that? Some people are really into essential oils that are calming, like the lavender smell, things like that. And then also just being mindful of noise. So if you live in a noisy area by construction or by a loud freeway, then maybe it's investing in a noise machine that either plays like really soft music or ocean, or if you're somebody that does not need silent, then making sure that, you're soundproofing in a way, or making sure that, again, minimizing those distractions.
So then taking kind of all of those things combined, some of that kind of contributes towards creating like a pre-bedtime routine. And that can be a really helpful thing to do. We talk about having a bedtime routine for young kids. I think that applies for adult kids as well, of really having some kind of consistency there and really having your evening or right before bedtime really be filled with just some of those calming things, everything that the girls were kind of mentioning, non-stimulating activities, something to just help you relax. The other thing that we wanted to talk about is kind of, okay, you've done all of those things. Now it's really time to get in bed and really try to get to sleep. And again, if you're watching this video, it might be something that you struggle with is really getting yourself to be able to fall asleep. So kind of two things that I want to share with you guys here. One is just this concept. Sometimes we can put so much pressure on ourselves. I have to get to sleep. Kind of like Missy was saying, ideally having at least 7 hours of sleep. Well, all of a sudden we can start playing some math in our mind. Okay, if I don't fall asleep now, then I'm only going to get 6.5 hours. And then there's pressure. And so taking that off the table as much as we can. And instead of focusing on, I have to get to sleep, of just focusing on, I'm going to rest. And if I fall asleep, great. That's an added bonus. That's what we're hoping will happen. But really just focusing on rest. So when you're getting into bed, what are some things you can do to help with that? Making sure that you're comfortable in bed or as comfortable as possible. Blankets, pillows. It could also be turning on some relaxing music. The Calm app is great. It's got some paid portions, but it also has some awesome free portions where you can just turn some music on. There's a breathing component in there, just focusing on your breathing, just physically relaxing your body to just help with that goal of resting. So that can be something just to kind of take that pressure off. Progressive muscle relaxation can also be really helpful. The other thing that people commonly struggle with is they'll say, it's really hard for me to relax my body. My mind is racing. I just can't focus on my breathing. I'm thinking about all kinds of different things. So another strategy, if that's something that you're bumping into, is giving your mind something to think about. If your mind wants to keep thinking, we want to let it kind of do that, but we want to give it something kind of boring to think about, something that's not going to get you all revved up so that it's hard to fall back to sleep or get to sleep in the first place. There's some really wonderful sleep stories out there that you can listen to, basically a bedtime story for adults, just like for little kids. Some really great ones, but intended to help get you to sleep, or guided meditations. A lot of times we talk about, kind of mentally grocery shopping, or going through the alphabet, picking a category, coming up with something that starts with each letter of the alphabet. Giving yourself something to think about, but that's going to hopefully help you fall asleep.
So if you do all those things, you set up yourself for great sleep, and you do those things, and about 20 minutes in to trying to laying your head down and trying to fall asleep, if you're still not asleep, the suggestion for many professionals, what they hear, what we're reading about, is that you should get up. Not get up and clean your house, but get up and do something relaxing. Get up, move out of your space, get out of bed and move out of the space and do something, again, either relaxing, not stimulating, meditative, anything like that. And then when you're feeling tired again, going back and doing that routine again. Because the more, like Christine was saying, the more you kind of do that countdown and think about it, the more that you're just going to get yourself more revved up. So getting yourself out of that space. So we honestly, we just scratched the surface here about sleep. We probably all could talk about it for another hour, but we're not going to do that today. We do suggest if you do have any questions or wanted to speak with one of us further about sleep, we really encourage you to reach out to us through our email. It's counseling@livingwellcrc.org. Or you can also feel free to comment in the comment section. All right. Thank you, guys.